Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. This is a contest entry for Andy's Vinyl Den Mixtape 777. He has 777 subscribers, probably more by now, which is pretty impressive. So I put together a mixtape, not really tape, but 10 songs he wants you to put together, and as if you were making a mixtape. He said you don't have to show the LP, you can put it on CD or whatever. I'm vinyl, everything I'm showing is going to be vinyl. Two things I wanted to show before we get started. First thing off, I want to thank Andy for the Talisman Dead Wax. What a hoot, great stuff, a lot of fun. I enjoyed the hell out of it, so thanks for sending that over, that's great. The other thing is, a while ago, probably 30, 40 years ago, R. Crumb put out a bunch of cards called Heroes of the Blues, and this is the original set I've had since way back when, and I know they've reissued them recently a couple of times, but they're basically drawings he has of different blues artists. This is Bo Carter, and on the back is a little bio about the guy. So these are fantastic. You really can learn a lot by going through these. People you never heard of before. These are some of them are very popular, very well known, like the Mississippi Sheiks, Skip James. So these are just great cards. Furry Lewis. So if you ever see these around, definitely pick them up. They're just fantastic, a lot of fun. Reverend Gary Davis, Blind Reverend Gary Davis, and on and on and on. Great people. Blind Willie McTell, and Son House. So if you ever see these around, definitely pick them up. I know he did other ones also. I know he did a country set, etc. But as you can tell, this my mixtape is going to be deep blues. That's really what one of my two major groups I love is blues and jazz. So this is going to be deep blues, and the first one is going to be, the first song is from a compilation put out on Record Store Day, I think about a year or two ago. It was called Rough Guide. This is a rough guide to Delta blues, and the song I'm picking two songs out of here, two different artists. The first one is Skip James doing Hard Time on the Killin' Floor Blues from 1931. And the other one is going to be Charlie Patton, Poor Me, 1934. Skip James and Charlie Patton are definitely the originators of early blues, along with Blind Lemon Jefferson, which I don't have, etc. But those two are a great way to start off any mixtape. Real raw country blues. Not for everybody's taste for sure, but I love it. Actually, I was on Facebook today, and someone had a quote from Jimi Hendrix, and he said, "Playing the blues is easy, feeling the blues is hard." So that's the real difference right there. You got to feel it. And Skip James and Charlie Patton definitely felt it. So there's a great compilation called Rough Guide to Delta Blues, and those are my two first picks. So that's two. The third song I got is another country blues man, one of the great harmonica players of all time, Sonny Terry, of course, Sonny Terry. And this is an album, A Wizard of the Harmonica. And off this one, I got to pick out his classic song, Diggin' My Potatoes, which I absolutely love. And yeah, it was with Brandon McGee, who he was with for many years. The two of them played all around the country. I actually saw them back in the 60s, Sonny Terry and Brandon McGee. So this is Diggin' My Potatoes, Sonny Terry. Next one is a guy who had a lot of hard times in his life. He was actually in prison twice, once for murder. When he was in prison, he actually got pardoned by the head of the prison, the warden, when he was singing the song, and ended up being a chauffeur for a while for Alan Lomax, who then created and sort of helped him along with his career, and that would be Leadbelly. Huddy Ledbetter ended up playing all around the country, ended up playing with Pete Seeger and Sonny Terry and Brandon McGee, also part of that same group. On this album, I gotta pick his classic, if I can find it. It's on here. All right, Midnight Special. Great song by the great 12-string guitar player, Huddy Ledbetter, better known as Leadbelly. Next one, another one of my favorites. This is also a Record Store Day reissue, and I was really happy to get it. It is Sam Lightnin Hopkins, and this is the song I pick off this one would be Bald Headed Woman. It's just him playing guitar, and some piano on here also. Recorded in 1962 and 61, different songs. Like I said, this is a Record Store Day reissue in that cool orange color. And Lightnin Hopkins, one of those guys that was able to make the transition over when the folk craze came around in the 1960s. He was able to, because he played solo, he was able to play a lot of the folk clubs in New York and all over the country and keep his career going. And Sam Lightnin Hopkins, fantastic. Next one, of course, is one everybody knows, the guy who at the time, though he was never popular during his era and died fairly unknown, it wasn't until the early 60s that they re-released a lot of his early recordings, which are only a few recordings he ever made, and that was, of course, is Robert Johnson. When he died in 1932, I think it was, he was completely, 36, he was not known, certainly not known by the majority of people, and not very well known in the blues circles. It wasn't until they released his songs in the early 60s that people like Eric Clapton and Peter Green and people like that, Keith Richards, sort of got into his stuff, realized what a genius he was, and he became very popular later on. But during his lifetime, not very well known, but amazing guitar player and singer. Really sang with a heart, just unbelievable. Out of this song, I'm going to pick Hellhound on My Trail, one of my favorite songs by him. And this is from the early releases, from the 70s re-release. And that's Robert Johnson, king of the blues singers. Next one, another one of my favorites of all time, is the boogeyman himself, Mr. John Lee Hooker. This is from his album Going Down Highway 51. And from this, I'm going to pick the title song, Going Down Highway 51. This is a great recording. 1950 was recorded, and it's fantastic. The King of the Boogie, John Lee Hooker. Then blues went to Chicago, left the Delta, left Mississippi. Great migration during and after World War II, when a lot of the African American people moved up north to get jobs, went to Chicago, work in the auto plants, went to Pittsburgh, work in the steel mills, and blues went electric, sort of changed a lot, and one of the exponents of that was, of course, Sonny Boy Williamson, one of the great harmonica players of all time. This is his album, The Real Folk Blues. This is a reissue on Chess. For this one, I gotta go with Got to Move. 1963, recorded in Chicago, with Matt Guitar Murphy on guitar, Lafayette Leak on organ. So there you go. Sonny Boy Williamson, harmonica player par excellence. And for the last two, we're staying in Chicago, and we go with the man himself, Muddy Waters. And this is his album recorded live at Newport, 1960. Off here, I got to pick I'm a Hoochie Coochie Man, fantastic. Again, this is a reissue, but I was happy to have it either way. McKinley Morganfield, better known as Muddy Waters. And then the 10th song on my list will be my favorite singer of the blues, the number one, I think the number one blues singer of all time, the man himself, Howlin Wolf. And this is his Greatest Sides, Volume 1, also a chess reissue. Gotta love that picture on the back, man, that's fantastic. The song I pick off for this one is my favorite song by Howlin Wolf, which is Smokestack Lightnin'. Of course, with Hubert Summerlin playing guitar on that, that particular cut. Howlin Wolf. Smokestack Lightnin'. Its Greatest Sides, Volume 1. So those are my 10 songs for my mixtape. Deep blues. Everything started with the deep blues. From there, everything went from there. So, if you're you like rock and roll, you like any kind of modern music, it all starts with the blues. Hope you all enjoyed this. And until next time, peace.